Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store for items like the Razer Kiyo webcam, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and Florida Man has struck again. Right, let's be fair, let's be realistic. If you hear the name Florida Man in front of any headline of any article, you immediately pay attention because you know, it gonna be good, because something that comes out of Florida that's, seceded by a man is always going to be a lot of fun, especially here. Look at the headline here. Florida man calls 911 to report himself for drunk driving. This, my friends, is why I love Florida, because you get the crazy stuff like Florida man caught trying to eat off face of other Florida man, right? It's happened before. Now you get Florida man calls 911 to report himself for drunk driving. That's a responsible Florida man, and that's a Florida man that I can get behind. However, if you take a look at his face here, it almost looks like someone gave him a shotgun blast of acne. Not gonna lie, I stole that joke from someone in a live chat. So, full disclosure. Anyway, it says here, Winter Haven, Florida. Florida authorities are sharing the details of an unusual 911 call on New Year's Eve from a man who said he wanted to report himself drunk driving. Now, here's the deal. New Year's Eve is a crazy time. I didn't want to leave the house on New Year's Eve. I did for a little bit. I had the baby. We were worried. I was going slow. And I was keeping a vigilant eye out for crazy people who are drunk. That's what you do on New Year's Eve. Now, this guy at least had the solid mind to go, I am in a position I can't get out of. And he called for help, which is what you are essentially supposed to do. So while it is going to be fun to mock the guy throughout the course of this story, I just want to kind of like set it up first by saying, like, this gentleman did the responsible thing. It's just perfect that it came from Florida. It wouldn't have had the same impact if it was like Alabama. No, Alabama man would work too. Like California. No, I guess maybe it could work for an area. Iowa man. If an Iowa man calls 911 to report himself, no one is going to care. No one is going to care. Anyway, Polk County Sheriff's officials say the dispatcher kept him talking while directing officers to the scene. And good, keep him calm, keep him active, keep him talking. Be like, sir, where are you right now? I don't know. I see a tree. I think it's a spruce. Anyway, when the dispatcher asked Michael Lester where he was, he says, I'm too drunk. I don't know where I'm at. Exactly. And when she asked what he'd been doing all night, he says, I'm not driving around trying to get pulled over, actually. So this guy clearly wanted to be pulled over. He wanted to be arrested. He wanted to have the fear of driving while intoxicated taken away. And that's kind of remarkable in its own way. I actually have to give this guy credit. You're in that moment. Like, I've had tons of friends. Who have been busted for DUIs, like dummy DUIs, right? Just so idiotic. But they've never been in the position at the time when they got busted for a DUI where they like legitimately were fearful of what they were doing. They were fearful of being caught by the cops. This guy was the exact opposite, right? Like one time a buddy and I were drunk. I mean, like super hammered on like, white wine spritzers, essentially. They're like wine coolers. We were with some Australian chick. Didn't work out for either of us. But the point is we were drunk. And so we were driving home from downtown San Diego back to where we lived, which was in East County. And the whole time, I have very vague recollections of what went down, but he was, this is my buddy who's gotten 2 DUIs, by the way. And he was driving, which was entirely ridiculous. But we're doing like 20 miles an hour on the freeway. Surprisingly didn't get caught. So I look at this kind of story. I'm like, look, I want to kind of just point out that Michael Lester here did the absolute right thing. And I now feel kind of bad for mocking him. I do. I feel kind of horrible, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway. Now he says here, I'm driving on the wrong side of the road. The operator repeatedly urged him to park his truck and wait for officers to find him. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong spot. He says, look, I'm parked in the middle of the road. He said sirens could be heard in the background a short time later. So basically, this guy got done watching The Hangover and just sat in the car instead of putting a sign saying couldn't find a meter, but here's $3. Deputies said Lester admitted drinking beers and swallowing methamphetamines. He said he'd also barely slept for several days, probably because he was swallowing methamphetamines. And I know to an extent what that is like. I used to date a stripper who was very much into meth. I did not do meth, but I stayed up with her when she did. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, I've been there. Anyway, he also said so the sheriff's office Facebook post says his criminal history includes DUI, aggravated battery, drug possession, and a hit and run. Now, here's the deal. Let's break this down. So this guy has got a DUI, aggravated battery, drug possession, and a hit and run. So he knows he's made mistakes in the past. That is actually, I think, the key takeaway here. This gentleman knows he made mistakes in the past. He knows that he screwed up, and he was afraid of doing it again. Yes, he had put himself in that situation. He'd put himself in that scenario where he could have made that mistake, but he ultimately didn't and decided to call it in order to get help. I mean, he's still going to be, facing insane charges as a result of this, but ultimately, I think the dude wanted to save lives, and he wanted his life saved too. I can't really fault him. Like, everyone makes mistakes. I got respect for this dude. I do. I really do. Now, it says here that driving while under the influence of alcohol or drugs is a serious crime. Innocent people are too often injured or killed from impaired drivers. DUI is no laughing matter, sheriff's officials wrote. However, in this particular incident, nobody was hurt, so we couldn't help but LOTO. What that means, laughed our tasers off. And so, yeah. I don't want to go as far as to say that this dude is, in fact, a hero. That is not what I'm trying to say. But what I do want to say, though, is that while he has found himself in this position where he could have done something horrible, and he took the appropriate steps to make sure it didn't happen, and clearly make sure it didn't happen again. All right. And that shows responsibility, and that actually shows remorse for one's previous actions. And that is something you don't see far. And I covered the story about the con man who ripped off people for hundreds of thousands of dollars. He clearly had no remorse over doing it. He did it multiple times. Here you have a gentleman who recognized he had made mistakes. And I gotta give the guy some credit on that one. Right? I do. I got to give the guy some credit. But I do want to know what you guys think about this. Would he deserve leniency in a court of law? Do you think he's just an idiot and should be treated as such in terms of, well, what sentencing he's going to get? Or should they look at him and just go like, he did kind of the right thing. We're just going to tase you a few times, maybe give you a blanket party and send you on your way. These are things I'm curious to know. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been the Mundane Mad Channel. If you guys haven't already, hit that thumbs up, smash that like, get this video going on in the algorithm. Comment below, because that also helps in the engagement, which helps out in the algorithm. And if you really want to support the channel, which I would hope you all would, be sure to you can do so with PayPal, Patreon, Bitcoin, Amazon affiliates, or you can just turn off that pesky ad block. But if you just want to watch more content, you can do so right now.